Okay, get ready to dive deep because we're about to explore the mind of Napoleon Hill, the master of success himself. But here's the twist. We're uncovering the surprising evolution of his thinking in his later years, specifically in his book, Grow Rich with Peace of Mind.
Fascinating, right?
It's not just another get-rich-quick scheme. It's Hill's attempt to correct course, to share the wisdom he gained in the latter part of his life.
He was 84 years old when he wrote it. Can you imagine? This man built his career on achieving wealth, and at 84, he pivoted, realizing that achieving goals without inner peace just wasn't truly fulfilling.
It's like he's saying, hey, I climbed the mountain, but the view's not so great when you're carrying a backpack full of regrets. He even mentions refusing to have a registered telephone.
Really makes you think about priorities, doesn't it?
Imagine that today. A phone robbing him of sleep. It's about finding that inner quiet amidst the noise of ambition.
That's exactly it. It's not just about silencing a ringing phone. It's about silencing the constant noise of ambition to make room for something deeper, something more meaningful. Grow Rich with Peace of Mind is about finding success on your own terms, staying true to yourself in the process.
And speaking of staying true to yourself, defining success on your own terms, that's where Hill's personal story gets interesting. Imagine being labeled a troublemaker at 9 years old. I mean, we're talking about a kid who carried a six-shooter like a seasoned outlaw.
It's remarkable how a single person can change the course of someone's life. Hill was practically destined for a life of trouble. Then comes a turning point. His stepmother. She saw past the troublemaker label and recognized his intelligence.
It's incredible. She told his father, he's not the meanest boy. He just needs a worthy goal. That belief changed everything, eventually leading him to interview giants like Andrew Carnegie.
Talk about a transformation. From a troublemaker to interviewing one of the wealthiest men in history, all because someone believed in his potential. That's the core of Hill's message. Self-discovery. That encounter with his stepmother shaped his belief that success comes from aligning your actions with your values and aspirations, not someone else's.
Finding your own path, right? And it makes me think of someone like the opera singer Madame Schumann-Heink. She was told she'd never make it as a singer, to stick to sewing instead.
You imagine.
But did she listen?
No way.
She went on to become a world-renowned opera singer, proving that sometimes the biggest obstacle is simply someone else's limited belief in you.
It's like, instead of internalizing that negativity, she used it as fuel to propel her forward.
It reminds me of what Hill called success consciousness.
Such a powerful concept. Think of it as an unwavering belief in yourself, that inner voice that says, I can do this, even when things get tough. It's not just about having a positive attitude. It's about seeing possibilities where others see roadblocks. It's about having that go-getter spirit.
So it's not about ignoring the difficulties, but choosing to see them through a different lens.
Exactly. It's about looking for solutions, not dwelling on problems. And it's not just some abstract idea. It's a driving force that leads to real-world success. Take Merlin Mickelson, for example. Back in the 1950s, he saw the emerging world of computers and recognized a need. Memory cores.
And this was all brand new back then, right?
Absolutely. He started with just $7.21 in his basement. But with his unshakable success consciousness, he turned that tiny investment into a multi-million-dollar company.
That's incredible. It's like success consciousness is this superpower, but instead of flying, it's about believing in yourself and your vision.
Absolutely. And it reminds me of the story Hill tells about encountering a discouraged man ready to give up on his dreams. This man felt completely lost.
Yeah, and Hill, being Hill, saw something in him, right?
He saw a passion for cooking, a natural talent for sales, and he helped this man turn his life around. With Hill's guidance, this discouraged man not only found success for himself, but even started training others. Talk about inspiring.
It really highlights how sometimes success is hiding in plain sight, just waiting for someone to come along and help you see it.
Sometimes, all it takes is someone to help you reframe your thinking, to see your strengths and passions in a new light.
It's like Hill was a master at helping people build their own castles of the mind, as he called it. And speaking of building defenses, Hill took this quite literally after facing some serious setbacks of his own. Remember the story about his lavish estate? How he lost it all in the 1929 crash?
It's almost hard to imagine.
It was like something out of a movie. Guests he couldn't even keep track of, strangers ending up in his bed.
And losing it all, you'd think it would break him, wouldn't you?
But instead of letting it crush him, he had this realization. It wasn't a loss, it was liberation.
It's like he learned to close the door on the past, not dwell on the failures, but extract the lessons and keep moving forward.
And it freed him from all those unnecessary burdens, bringing him closer to a sense of peace.
You know, it reminds me of the difference between Al Capone and O. Henry. Al Capone trying to buy redemption by funding soup kitchens, and O. Henry finding genuine transformation after his time in prison. One focused on outward appearances, while the other experienced a true inner shift.
It's about recognizing that true growth comes from within. And that's where Hill's advice about going the extra mile comes into play.
It's not about being a pushover. It's about shifting your mindset from resentment to opportunity.
Exactly. He even uses the example of that young man working at the printing firm, right? Instead of just going through the motions, he really immersed himself in typography, learning about different fonts and layouts.
And that dedication didn't go unnoticed, did it?
Not at all. His boss recognized his commitment, and ultimately, that dedication led to a promotion. It's like that saying, the harder I work, the luckier I get.
It's not just luck, though. It's about recognizing that effort often precedes opportunity.
You create your own luck, in a sense.
Absolutely. It's about approaching every task with excellence, a genuine desire to contribute, and turning resentment into a springboard for growth.
It's fascinating how Hill connects effort, attitude, and this idea of attracting success. He says your mind can actually shape your reality.
He did. He tells a really compelling story about this man who lost everything in, of all things, a bad real estate deal.
Ouch, that's gotta hurt.
Right. And he was consumed by anger and resentment. His health even started to decline. His relationships fell apart. It wasn't until he let go of those negative emotions and cultivated a positive mindset that things turned around.
So he was able to rebuild his life.
He did. Rebuilt his fortune, but more importantly, rediscovered peace of mind.
It's like that saying, you attract what you focus on.
Exactly. Hill truly believed in the power of the mind to shape our reality. It's about aligning your thoughts, your beliefs, even your actions with those positive outcomes instead of getting bogged down in negativity.
I love that. And speaking of attracting abundance, Hill also stresses the importance of sharing your riches. Now, obviously, he's not just talking about money here, right?
Right. For Hill, true wealth went far beyond just finances. It's about sharing your time, your knowledge, your unique skills, those resources you've developed to make a positive impact on the world around you.
It's about giving back, right?
Exactly. And he gives the example of a man named Edward Choate. During World War II, Choate dedicated a huge chunk of his time, like 80%, to selling war bonds.
That's a huge commitment.
It is. And he did it without taking any compensation, can you imagine?
Mm-hmm.
He simply believed in the cause and genuinely wanted to contribute.
Wow. And did his generosity pay off?
It really did.
Yeah.
After the war, Choate's selflessness was repaid in spades. People sought him out for his services, his integrity. He ended up selling over $1.5 million worth of insurance policies because people remembered his character.
Talk about the law of compensation in action.
Exactly. It's not about expecting something back or tallying up favors. It's just understanding that our actions have this ripple effect.
Yeah.
By helping others, by contributing to the greater good, we end up enriching our own lives.
It's like that saying, you reap what you sow. And this applies to everything, wouldn't you say? Our careers, our relationships, everything.
Absolutely. And to bring it down to earth, Hill even uses the example of financial transparency in a marriage. Yeah. Think about it. When you hide financial information from your partner, it just creates distrust and tension, right?
Which sense?
But when you're open and honest, it builds that foundation of security and partnership.
Transparency is key.
Absolutely. It's about creating that sense of trust, that mutual respect, a shared purpose.
Okay, now this next topic might raise a few eyebrows. Developing a healthy ego. For so long, self-esteem and ego were almost dirty words, you know? What was his stance on this?
Well, Hill recognized that while an overinflated ego can be detrimental, cultivating a healthy ego is crucial for success and personal fulfillment. Now, he wasn't advocating for arrogance, not at all.
Of course not.
It was about recognizing your own worth, having that confidence to put your best foot forward, to share your unique gifts and talents without shrinking yourself.
So how do you cultivate a healthy ego?
Hill actually talks about identifying things in your life that he calls ego boosters. These are little things that give you a sense of confidence and pride, little reminders of your accomplishments.
Like what? Give me an example.
Well, he tells this story about a salesman who always kept a pristine, top-of-the-line golf bag in his car.
Even if he didn't play golf.
Exactly. He rarely played. But for him, it was about projecting that image of success, of confidence. And you know what? It actually seemed to work in his favor.
I guess it's all about perception, right?
It's about those little details that can impact our confidence and ultimately how we present ourselves to the world.
Now, For a topic that I think often gets misinterpreted, let's talk about Hill's concept of transmuting sexual energy. It's definitely a conversation starter, to say the least.
It is a topic that tends to elicit strong opinions. It's important to remember that Hill was writing in a different era, and his views on sexuality were shaped by the social norms of his time.
It was a different time, for sure, but I don't think he was encouraging, irresponsible behavior or anything like that.
Not at all. What Hill observed was a connection between having a strong sexual drive and success in different areas of life. He saw it in artists, performers, entrepreneurs, you name it.
It's interesting, right? That energy, that drive, it has to go somewhere.
Exactly. He believed that energy, when properly channeled, could actually fuel creativity and productivity, enhance your vitality, all of it.
It's about finding that balance.
Yeah, exactly. It's like anything else. It's about self-mastery and finding a constructive outlet for that energy.
Now, let's shift gears a bit and talk about one of my favorite Hill concepts, the mastermind principle. It sounds almost mysterious. What is it?
Well, at its core, the mastermind principle is about the incredible power of collaboration. It's that idea that we can achieve so much more when we work together, when we combine our strengths.
It's about more than just teamwork, though, right?
Exactly. Hill's mastermind principle takes collaboration to a whole new level. He truly believed, and I think this is really remarkable, that a group of like-minded individuals working in harmony can achieve far more than just the sum of their individual efforts.
It's like that synergy you get when everyone's on the same wavelength, all pulling in the same direction.
Exactly. And, Hill didn't just talk about this in theory. He attributed much of his own success to the power of the mastermind. He surrounded himself with people he trusted, people who shared his vision. It's about creating this incredible energy that elevates everyone involved.
So it's not just about finding talented people, it's about finding people who align with your values, your goals.
Absolutely. It's about creating a space where ideas can flow freely, where challenges are met with a spirit of collaboration instead of competition. Everyone feels supported, everyone feels heard. And Hill actually provides a blueprint for creating a mastermind group.
He does. What are some of the key elements?
Well, he emphasizes surrounding yourself with people you genuinely trust and respect, not just people you agree with all the time. It's about diverse perspectives coming together and setting those clear goals. What do you want to accomplish together? Maintaining confidentiality is key, creating that safe space for sharing ideas, and perhaps most importantly, operating from a place of harmony and mutual support.
So it's not about using people to advance your own agenda. It's about genuine collaboration, a rising tide lifts all boats kind of thing.
Exactly. And Hill didn't just see the mastermind as a tool for personal gain either. He really believed it could be a force for good in the world. He talks about these golden rule industries of America.
What is that? I don't think I'm familiar with that concept.
So Hill envisioned businesses operating on, well, the golden rule. Treat others as you want to be treated. It's about prioritizing fairness, cooperation, mutual benefit, creating a more ethical way of doing business, one that actually benefits everyone.
I love that idea. Instead of just focusing on the bottom line, it's about creating a more just and equitable system for everyone involved.
Exactly. It's about moving away from that scarcity mindset, that dog-eat-dog mentality, and embracing collaboration and abundance. And, his vision didn't stop there. He even proposed creating a radio and television station that would be dedicated entirely to educational content, specifically content about personal achievement and success.
Wow, can you imagine? Tuning in, and instead of being bombarded with advertisements, you're hearing these inspiring stories, practical advice, empowering ideas.
Right. Imagine the impact that could have on individuals, on society as a whole. It's about democratizing knowledge, making those tools for success accessible to everyone.
That's incredible. It's like Hill was decades ahead of his time. And on that note, I think it's time to wrap up this incredible deep dive into the mind of Napoleon Hill.
I agree. It's been fascinating.
So, what are some key takeaways for our listeners to remember as they go out into the world, hopefully inspired by Hill's wisdom?
Well, I think the most important thing is to remember that success, true success, is not a finish line you cross. It's an ongoing journey. It's about constantly striving to be the best version of yourself, living in alignment with those core values, finding that fulfillment and chasing your passions, whatever those may be.
Absolutely. Don't be afraid to define success on your own terms. Don't get caught up in chasing someone else's definition of it. What does success mean to you?
Such a powerful question to ask yourself. And cultivate that positive mental attitude. It sounds simple, but Hill truly believed in the power of our minds to shape our realities. Focus on gratitude, visualize those dreams you have, choose to see obstacles as opportunities for growth, all of it.
And surround yourself with a supportive people, right? Those who inspire you to be your best self, whether it's a mentor, a close friend, even a mastermind group like we talked about. That support system makes all the difference.
He really does. And never underestimate the power of self-mastery. It's about taking responsibility for those choices you make, developing self-discipline, becoming the conscious architect of your own life.
Love that. You are in the driver's seat, ultimately.
That's it. And remember what Hill said. The Creator's place in your life is to help you be more triumphantly your own master. Embrace that power you have. Step into your potential. Create that life that is both fulfilling and, yes, successful.
On that note, we'll wrap up this deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring those big questions, keep growing, and keep striving to create those lives filled with purpose and, yes, that lasting fulfillment.